Once upon a time, there lived a king named Nduka. Nduka was a good king. He was the richest king of the land, richer than his father. He brought prosperity to his people. The Ori land flourished in cocoa and palm oil. The kingdom exported their goods to far and near lands. The Oni people were happy and lived in peace. To bring prosperity to his people, the king worked tirelessly with his cabinet members. He always wanted to know what his people wanted. He worked with Mazi Ikenna, his vault treasurer. Ikenna was in charge of the king's gold. The king also worked closely with Azubike, his general. Azubike had brought many victories to the Ori king. He had brought many kingdoms under the Ori rule. King Nduka was very close to Azubike and Ikenna. He had known them since he was a child. He grew up with them. Everything was going well for the king. His only problem was that he was childless. His queen, Amara, was yet to produce a son for him. They had been married for 5 years now, and yet no children. He loved her, but his cabinet members were always putting pressure on him to take a new bride so that she could produce a son for him who would take over the kingdom and maintain the peace in the land. The king, because he was trying to bring peace to his people, did not marry on time. He married when he was older. Now, the king and the queen were old. Time was running out and he now had to produce a son. The people wanted him to take a young bride, one that could produce many children for him. After much debate, it was agreed that the king would marry Princess Uju. Now, Princess Uju was the princess of Ahia, a smaller kingdom under the Ori rule. Azubike had conquered their land and had brought it under the Ori command. To foster a stronger unity amongst both kingdoms, it was agreed that Uju would marry the king, King Nduka. Princess Uju was a young, beautiful maiden, one that was soft-spoken and gentle. She was caring and loved to spend her time sewing. The king married Uju, and after 1 year she gave birth to a boy. Everyone was happy. The young prince was named Afam. Everyone was overjoyed. There was celebration after celebration, drinking and eating. The king was so happy. Although Queen Amara was happy, she was also sad. Now Uju had an upper hand over her. She was the mother of the crown prince. This was an office that had substantial weight in political movements in the land. And so it was, Amara could see that she was losing the respect of her people. They no longer valued her opinion, but would go to Uju for advice. Uju became in charge of the king's affairs. Gradually, the queen was no longer invited to the king's chambers. This made the queen cry, and cry. Every night she would cry and ask the gods why she was cursed. One day, her chief maidservant suggested that she go and see Idemmili, the goddess of fertility. There, she would make a sacrifice, appealing that she be with child. By this time, the queen had given up hope. She was not getting any younger, and she had seen many powerful herbalists from far and wide, but no one had a solution. Idemmili was not a goddess of the Ori people, but she was well known by all as the goddess who guided the Oni people. Her powers were known. As a last resort, the queen journeyed to Oni in the hopes of having her own child. Once at the Idemmili shrine, the priestess revealed to the queen that her womb had been tied. What do you mean? The queen shouted. How? The priestess said that a few years back, someone had used powerful magic to tie the queen's womb. It was the plan of the evil one. But the queen should not worry. Soon, the green snake that sleeps in the palace garden will soon be exposed, and then her womb will be open. The priestess gave her a small mirror. She told her that the mirror was a gift from Idemili. When the time comes, she should turn to the mirror, and the mirror will reveal to her the true form of her enemy. The queen was in shock. Who would do such a thing and why? Yes, the king, her husband, had conquered many lands, and as such may have gained enemies, but who will go this far? Once back in the palace, the queen was restless. What the priestess had told her was disturbing her. Because she could not sleep, she took a walk that evening. She went towards the gardens and was thinking about all that the priestess had told her. As she walked, she could hear two people arguing. So as not to disturb them, she turned and walked away. But that's when she heard them clearly. It was a man and a woman. They were not really arguing, but they were talking loudly. The man seemed agitated, but the woman was trying to convince the man of her plan. Once what they were saying became clearer, the queen was in shock. It cannot be, she said. No, there is no way. She moved closer to see the couple, and that's when she saw the woman. The woman was trying to kiss the man. The queen shouted. Immediately, the woman turned towards the queen's direction. Then the queen hid, and then she ran away. How can this be? How is this possible? I have to tell the king. The next morning, the queen's chief maid came to the queen's chamber as the queen was on her way out to see the king. The chief maid servant said the king had summoned the queen in the Olu, where he met with his cabinet members. The queen was surprised. Why this early morning? Once in the Olu, the queen saw the king and his cabinet members, his trusted advisors, and his general Azubike. Standing next to him was the vault treasurer, Ikenna. Next to the king, on her own throne, sat Uju. This was against tradition. Only the queen sat directly next to the king. Uju had an evil smile. She looked down at the queen from the throne as if she had caught a rat in a trap. What is this about? The queen asked. Where were you last night? The king asked her. I don't understand, the queen said. What do you mean? The king shouted, You stupid woman! Did you think I would not find out? The queen was confused. What is going on here? Tell these courts where you were last night, the king said. The queen was confused. Then Uju spoke up. I saw her. Yes, I did. She was with her male servant under the mango tree kissing. Hey! Kissing kwa? The queen shouted. You lie, you liar. Then a man walked up beside the queen. She had not seen him standing beside her until now. He came closer and she saw his face. He was a young boy that she had taken under her wing. He worked for her. The young man's name was Nonso. The king addressed Nonso. Is it true? Speak the truth. Nonso said, Yes, my king. It is true. The queen and I have been having an affair. She is the one that started it. Hey! Everybody shouted, Abomination! Hey! The queen was in shock. She was about to faint. Why? She cried. Why would you lie against me after all I've done for you? Who put you up to this? Shut up, you adulterous woman, Uju shouted. You have been having an affair under our husband's nose. Who knows, maybe you're a witch who is eating her own children. Uju then turned to the king. She has to be beheaded. This is an abomination that will curse the land. She has to be killed so that the gods will not be angry with the people of Ori. The cabinet members agreed to this. The queen then turned to the king. She was crying. My husband, she said, for as long as I have lived and on my parents' grave, not once have I looked at another man. Even this past year where you have abandoned me, I have never been unfaithful. But Uju here is the one who is unfaithful. She is having an affair with your general, Azubike. You say? Everybody shouted. Shut up, Uju said. How dare you, the king said. you have been caught, and now you want to rope an innocent man, Azubike, my own childhood friend, into your mess? It's true, the queen said. I saw them last night. They were talking about killing you, the plan to take over the kingdom. This was a very serious allegation, one that was hard to believe. Azubike is the king's right-hand man, his general, a man that has brought victory to him. The king said, I did not plan to kill you because of the love I had for you, but for this outrageous lie, you will be beheaded at dawn. And with that, the king stood up and left. The queen fell down and cried. She cried and cried. Everyone left the palace. As they left, they spat at her. Once in the prison, the queen was in deep grief. What can she do? She asked herself. How can she prove her innocence? Then she remembered the mirror. When her chief maid servant brought her food that night, the queen asked her to go to her chambers and bring the mirror. The next morning, the queen was brought out before everyone. The executioner was beside her. However, from nowhere, she asked that her last request be that she apologize to Uju. She walked up to Uju and gave Uju the magic mirror. Here, take this. Please accept it as a gift. Uju was confused and shocked, but she took the mirror and looked into it. The sunlight hit the mirror, and then Uju saw her face. Once Uju saw her face, she screamed. Before everyone's amazement, Uju transformed into an old woman with wrinkles and leprosy. What? The king shouted. What have you done to her? He asked the queen. The queen herself was in shock. It was the Ezemo who picked the mirror from the ground. This is a sacred mirror, he said. Where did he get it from? The queen said it was a gift from Idemili, the goddess of fertility. The Ezemo said the mirror had powers to reveal the true form of any being, dead or alive. Uju was what you call Nkitaoki, a creature that could hide its natural form from the naked eyes. That's when Uju confessed. She said that she and Azubike had planned to kill the king for many years. They had tied the queen's womb so that she won't be able to give birth, knowing that, as was tradition, the king would be forced to take another bride. Azubike believed that he should have more lands and gold for all that he had done. Uju, on the other hand, wanted to destroy the Ori king for conquering her people. Once Azubike heard this, he tried to escape, but the warriors stopped him. Both Uju and Azubike confessed. And instead of the queen to be beheaded that morning, both of them were banished, along with their son, Afam, as their son was never the king's son. The king and his people apologized to the queen, and after 1 year, by the powers of Idemili, she gave birth to a son. Thank you so much for listening to another episode. If you liked it, please subscribe, like, comment, share. Thank you to those who have subscribed. Thank you to those who have supported. Until next time, goodbye.